What if everything you've been taught about staying warm in the wild is completely wrong? Not slightly wrong. Not outdated. Completely, systematically, deliberately wrong. Engineered by a billion-dollar industry that profits every single time you believe you need more gear. I'm going to show you something today that will permanently change how you think about surviving cold weather. And by the end of this video, you're going to realize that the most dangerous thing you can bring into a survival situation isn't the wrong gear. It's the wrong knowledge. Welcome to Survival Secrets. If you want the knowledge the market prays you never find, subscribe. Because what we're about to break down could one day save your life, and it won't cost you more than $30. Picture this scenario. 2 people. One night. Temperature dropping to 14 degrees Fahrenheit. That's minus 10 Celsius. Brutal, serious cold. Person A has a premium outdoor sleeping system, a brand name 0-degree sleeping bag worth $350, a titanium camping cot at $280, a 4-season tent at $450. Total investment, over $1,000. Person B has a pile of materials pulled from dumpsters and recycling bins behind a hardware store. Total cost, $28. At sunrise, who is warmer? If your gut says Person A, congratulations. You have just proven how effective the outdoor industry's marketing machine really is. Because the correct answer, backed by physics, backed by military research, and backed by decades of real-world testing by people whose lives literally depended on getting this right, is that it depends almost entirely on knowledge, not on equipment. Let me prove it to you. Before we talk about gear or the complete lack of it, we need to talk about the most important thermal system in any cold weather survival scenario. Your body. A resting adult human body generates roughly 100 watts of continuous heat output. Think about that for a moment. You are, metabolically speaking, a living light bulb. That 100 watts of biological heat is the engine behind every thermal survival strategy ever developed by anyone, anywhere, under any conditions. Your job in a cold weather survival situation is not to generate more heat. Your body already handles that automatically. Your job, your only job, is to stop that heat from escaping. That is it. That is the entire game. And here is where it gets genuinely interesting. Heat does not escape from your body in one single way. It escapes in 5 distinct, simultaneous ways. And most commercial camping gear, regardless of how much it costs, only addresses 1 or 2 of them. The outdoor industry does not want you thinking in systems. They want you buying individual products. Products are built around single solutions to single problems, because that is what is easiest to market and most profitable to manufacture. Understanding all 5 heat loss mechanisms is the difference between someone who survives the night and someone who does not. So we are going to go through every single one of them right now. The first mechanism is conduction. This is the silent killer that most people completely ignore. When your body makes direct contact with a cold surface, heat transfers from you to that surface at a rate approximately 25 times faster than heat loss through still air, 25 times faster. The ground beneath your sleeping bag, no matter how expensive that bag is, functions as an infinite thermal sink. It has effectively unlimited capacity to absorb your body heat, and it will do so continuously, all night long, without stopping, unless you physically separate yourself from it. Most campers, even experienced ones, spend hundreds of dollars on a sleeping bag and then completely ignore the conduction problem. They wake up cold and blame the bag. The bag is not the problem. The ground is the problem. The second mechanism is convection. Moving air steals heat from your skin. This is why wind feels so vicious in cold weather. It constantly sweeps away the thin layer of warm air your body creates around itself. But here is the part most people miss. Convection does not require wind. It happens inside your tent as well. Anytime there is a large open air volume around your body, cold air circulates naturally and constantly, stripping away warmth before you can build up any kind of thermal buffer. A big, spacious tent, marketed to you as a feature, as a selling point, is thermally speaking a liability. The third mechanism is radiation. Your body is constantly emitting infrared energy in all directions. You cannot feel it happening. You cannot stop it from happening. But it represents a steady, continuous drain of thermal energy from your core into the surrounding environment. Every cold surface around you, tent walls, the ground, the open sky above, absorbs that radiated heat and never gives it back. The fourth mechanism is respiration. Every breath you exhale is a small package of warm, humid air escaping into the cold. It is subtle, it is continuous, and it adds up significantly over an 8-hour night of sleep. Most survival guides barely mention respiration as a heat loss pathway, but military cold weather research, conducted over decades of operations in Arctic and subarctic environments, lists it as a non-trivial contributor to overall thermal drain, especially at temperatures below 20 degrees Fahrenheit. The fifth mechanism is evaporation. Sweat is your body's cooling system. It is brilliant engineering in summer. In winter, it is a potential death sentence. When moisture, from sweat, from condensation, from rain, saturates your insulation, that insulation loses most of its ability to trap air. Wet down loses up to 90% of its insulating value. And once your insulation is wet, your body's heat loss rate can spike dramatically, without any obvious external warning sign, without any alarm going off. This is how people die of hypothermia in relatively mild conditions. They did not simply get cold, they got wet, and then they got cold. And by the time they realized what was happening to them, they were already in serious trouble. Before I show you exactly how a $30 system addresses all 5 of those mechanisms simultaneously, I want to ask you something, and I genuinely want your answer in the comments below. Have you ever spent a night outdoors in cold conditions, camping, a real emergency, hunting, hiking, whatever the reason, and made a thermal mistake that you learned from the hard way? What happened? What would you do differently now? I read every single comment on this channel, and your real experiences directly shape what content I build next. Tell me what you have been through. I want to hear it. Everything I am about to describe is not something I invented. This is distilled knowledge from decades of practical development by people who had no other option but to get it right. People experiencing homelessness, surviving brutal urban winters, military special operators trained for Arctic environments, and backcountry survival instructors who have tested these principles under conditions that would genuinely humble most experienced outdoor enthusiasts. The foundation of this entire system is deceptively, almost insultingly simple. Get your body at least 6 inches off the ground. That single intervention eliminates conduction, the most aggressive heat loss mechanism, completely. Not partially, completely. You do not need a titanium camping cot to accomplish this. You need physical separation from the ground. Wooden pallets work perfectly for this purpose. They are structurally solid, they are thermally inert, and they are thrown away by the thousands every single day behind warehouses, hardware stores, grocery chains, and distribution centers. 2 or 3 clean pallets placed side by side create a sleeping platform that is functionally identical to a $250 camping cot. The cost is $0. On top of your elevated platform, you layer cardboard. I know exactly what you are thinking right now, and I want you to hold that thought because you are about to find out why that instinctive reaction is exactly what the industry has trained you to feel. Corrugated cardboard is structured internally as thousands of tiny sealed air chambers arranged in a geometric pattern. Trapped air, specifically air that is confined in spaces too small for convection currents to form inside them, is one of the most effective thermal insulators that exists in nature. This is the exact same physical principle behind a $600 goose down sleeping bag. The down bag traps air in clusters of fine fibers. Cardboard traps air in geometric channels. The thermal resistance of 4 to 6 layers of corrugated cardboard is comparable to many commercial foam sleeping pads sold in outdoor stores. One of these materials is free from the recycling bins behind any electronics retailer or appliance store. The other costs between $40 and $120 depending on the brand name printed on it. The outer shell of the system uses a principle that NASA originally developed to manage thermal conditions in the vacuum of space. Emergency blankets, those thin, crinkly silver sheets found in every first aid kit, are coated with a microscopically thin layer of aluminized mylar. That coating has a remarkable property. It reflects up to 90% of incoming infrared radiation back toward its source. It does not absorb that energy, it redirects it. When you use emergency blankets to construct a small enclosed space over your body, using a simple framework of wooden sticks, sections of PVC pipe, or any rigid material you can find, You create what engineers call a radiant heat trap. Your body emits infrared energy continuously. Normally, that energy radiates outward into the environment and is permanently lost. Inside a reflective enclosure, that energy bounces back toward you. You are, in the most literal physical sense, recycling your own body heat. This is not a trick or an improvised workaround. This is the same engineering principle used to protect satellites and crewed space capsules from the extreme thermal conditions of orbital space. Applied at human scale, with materials available at any hardware store for under $5. Here is something the outdoor industry will never tell you, because it directly contradicts their product marketing strategy. The larger the interior space of your shelter, the harder your body has to work to warm it. Your 100 watts of metabolic heat output is a fixed resource. It does not increase because you need it to. Distribute that heat through a large tent, and you are attempting to warm cubic yards of cold air all night long, concentrated in a tight enclosure, just large enough for your body with minimal excess space. And that same 100 watts creates a dramatically warmer microenvironment much faster and maintains it with significantly less metabolic effort. Marketing language describes large tents as spacious and comfortable. Physics describes them as thermally inefficient. The system we are building is sized to fit your body with minimal excess volume, maximizing the thermal efficiency of every single watt of heat your body produces. Before you enter your sleeping system, you want the interior space to already be warm, not cold, not room temperature, warm. Because if you enter a cold shelter, your body is forced to burn metabolic energy, warming the surrounding surfaces and air, before you begin to benefit from any thermal retention at all. That means you spend the first hour of the night shivering, burning energy reserves you will need tomorrow, and getting degraded sleep, all before the system has even started working in your favor. The solution is 2 1-liter plastic bottles filled with the hottest water you can safely handle without burning yourself, sealed tightly, and placed inside your shelter 20 minutes before you plan to sleep. Those bottles function as thermal batteries. They release their stored heat slowly and steadily into the enclosed space, raising the interior temperature by 15 to 25 degrees Fahrenheit before your body ever enters. When you finally get in, you are not fighting cold. You are maintaining warmth that already exists inside that space. The difference in sleep quality, subjective comfort, and physical energy conservation into the following day is significant, and the cost of this technique is zero, provided you have access to heated water. Let us do this comparison properly, because the numbers tell a story that the outdoor industry has a strong financial interest in keeping you from thinking through clearly. A 0-degree brand-name sleeping bag costs between $400 and $800. A foam or inflatable sleeping pad, which you must buy separately because the bag alone does absolutely nothing about conduction, costs between $50 and $120. A 4-season tent, because neither of those items addresses radiation or convection, costs between $400 and $700. The total investment runs from $850 to over $1,600. What does that system actually address? Conduction partially with the sleeping pad. Convection partially if the tent happens to be tight enough. Radiation minimally, because most commercial tents have no reflective interior surfaces. Evaporation conditionally, since down sleeping bags fail catastrophically when wet. Respiration. Not at all. The knowledge-based system, on the other hand, uses wooden pallets that are free, corrugated cardboard that is free, 2 or 3 emergency thermal blankets that cost between $6 and $12 total, basic framework materials, PVC sections, wooden dowels, paracord, that cost between $8 and $15. If you purchase every single component brand new, the total runs between $14 and $27. What does that system address? Conduction, completely, through elevation and cardboard layering. Convection, completely, through minimal enclosed volume. Radiation, completely, through the reflective blanket enclosure. Evaporation, managed through deliberate ventilation design. Respiration, managed through that same ventilation approach. The $30 system does not beat the $1,000 system because it is cheaper. It beats it because it was engineered around the actual physics of heat loss, not around what photographs well in a product catalog. That philosophy, survival through knowledge rather than survival through consumption, is the foundational principle behind everything we cover on this channel. There is one final advantage of the knowledge-based system that rarely gets discussed in any serious depth, and it may be the most critical one in a genuine emergency situation: adaptability. Commercial gear systems are rigid by design. When you purchase a specific tent and sleeping bag combination, you own a system that was optimized for a specific range of conditions under specific assumptions. When those conditions change, and in real emergencies, conditions always change and always change unexpectedly, your options for adapting are expensive and limited. Temperature drops further than forecast? You need to purchase warmer gear. More people need shelter than you planned for. You need to purchase a larger tent. You need to relocate quickly. You are now carrying everything you paid for, whether you want to or not. The knowledge-based system operates in the opposite direction. Every component is either free or nearly free, and every component is instantly replaceable from the surrounding environment. Temperature drops more than expected? Add another layer of cardboard and a second reflective blanket. Need to shelter additional people? Extend the framework and expand the reflective panels to cover the additional volume. Need to evacuate the location immediately? Leave the pallets and the cardboard. They are everywhere and cost nothing. Carry only the thermal blankets, which weigh less than 4 ounces and fold down to fit in any jacket pocket. That level of real-time adaptive capability does not exist in any manufactured gear system at any price point. Because manufactured systems are designed to sell complete product units, not to serve the unpredictable, rapidly evolving nature of actual human emergencies. This is survival thinking versus consumer thinking. And in a genuine emergency, the gap between those two mindsets can be the difference between making it to morning and not. The $30 system beats the $700 system not because it is cheaper. It beats it because it correctly understands the problem it is trying to solve. And now, so do you. If this video changed how you think about survival gear and knowledge, share it with one person who needs to hear it. Every share puts this information in front of someone who might one day need it for real. Subscribe to Survival Secrets for more knowledge the market does not want you to have. New video every week. See you in the next one.